Hi, it's AJ Hazy here, and for this episode of the video blog, we are going to talk about this new BC budget and what the potential impacts are to our real estate market. So firstly, let's bullet point what has actually taken place. So the first thing that we've got is that the foreign buyers tax has increased from 15% to 20%. And the really interesting part is that it now includes us, where we were exempt before. So foreign buyers tax now at 20%, and we're part of it. So that's number one. Number two, the property transfer tax for properties over $3 million will now have a 5% transfer tax component over $3 million. So if you buy a $3.5 million house, you'll see about another $2,500 on your transfer tax bill. Is that going to dissuade somebody at that price point? Not very likely. So that one's sort of a moot point. They also got rid of the BC Home Partnership program, which was giving first-time buyers a hand up. That program has now been eliminated. I think that was a little short-sighted on the part of the BC government. However, our experience in working with a number of first-time buyers is that the vast majority were not actually taking advantage of the program. So I don't see this having a massive impact on our market. Now, the one that will impact our market is this speculation tax. And a better word for that is the vacant property tax. And this is where, as of 2019, they're going to be imposing a $20 for every $1,000 valuation on your property, which on a $500,000 vacant home would add $10,000 to the property taxes. So you can imagine what this does to some of the $1 million and $1.5 million vacant homes. It would levy a very large tax burden annually to an owner of that who left it vacant. So let's analyze who this might affect. Firstly, it's important to know that roughly about 20% of the buyers in the Okanagan are actually from outside of British Columbia. So first of all, that's the only people that it affects. Secondly, it's important to realize that less than 2% of our Okanagan market sells to a foreign buyer. So that foreign buyer's tax only affects less than 2% of our market, so probably not enough to make a real impact. And roughly of all the homes that change hands, roughly 6% of those are of a recreational nature, which means these are the types of properties that typically are left empty. So fairly small percentages of the market, particularly in a tight inventory market like this. I don't think it's going to have a major impact, even if a large quantity of these homes came on the market. It's not enough to put downward pressure on pricing. Now, let's look at the real numbers of vacant property. Downtown, there are 470 units based on the last census that are sitting empty. So it's a decent amount of units downtown. The Mission also has another 380 or so vacant units in the Mission. Now, these properties do sit empty. Their owners may either live in the Lower Mainland or in Alberta or elsewhere, and those properties sit empty. So these folks now have to make a decision, and that decision is essentially this. Do I either rent it out and avoid the tax, or is that too much of a hassle, and do I sell it? So yes, there could be some of these properties coming on the market. As I mentioned before, unlikely it's enough to really drive our market downward, but it is going to pose some significant challenges for some people who have invested and worked hard in their life to be able to invest in a second home. I have clients that have bought $1.5 million properties on the water. It is absolutely not a speculation play for them. It was 100% a lifestyle decision, and they had no intentions to rent it out. So now they have to either allow people to rent their property or they have to sell it. And that's the unfortunate thing of the short-sighted BC budget that rolled out. But do not panic. The moral of the story is this is not going to send our market into a tailspin. It's just going to create some interesting conversations over the next 3 to 6 months as this rolls out. Hopefully found that helpful. If you have any questions at all, by all means, you can reach out directly to me, or you can use our search tool right here on the video blog. And if you're interested in what your home might sell for in this very hot 2018 spring market, we do have an online property evaluator right here on the blog. Thanks again, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.